Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to first episode of the What If series. This series is me discussing or going over the plans that I would have had if I did a season 8 for my Universe Mode Wrestling series. And hopefully this can give a little bit of closure for the wrestling fans of the series. I know that a lot of guys wanted me to keep it going, and I chose differently. I chose a different path. So, and that ultimately is Project Kronos. I really wanted to try the route that I've been on, and I'm enjoying Project Kronos so far. And for anybody interested in the Project Kronos series, I'm actually almost finalizing episode 4, and I'm writing out this. And I've written the first draft of episode 5, and I've outlined episodes 6 and 7. Now, whether or not I have the people for it is up for discussion. I am unsure on that, but anyways, to talk about this is episode 1. I wanted to stream it without editing it. Well, I did some editing on my own right before this, but I wanted to go over first what I would have done right after WrestleMania Season 7. So, this is going to be probably a 13 episode series. We will go by every pay-per-view. So I'll cover, for example, episode 2 will be the first Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and Extreme Rules. I'll be talking about that. I'll be talking about the plans, the decisions I made. I'll use like screenshots, and it won't be technically awesome, a masterpiece, but I'll try my best to see what I can do. Another thing is, feel free to put your comments on my decisions down below, because that can impact decisions. Basically, it's one of the for example, some of the things are I gauged the winners of Money in the Bank off of crowd reaction, or the winner of the Royal Rumble off of crowd reaction. So based upon how you guys can react, it can alter some of the biggest decisions that I make within the season. And some of these decisions I wouldn't make until the show or until I heard people's verdict. So over the first 2 episodes, or episodes 2 and 3 and even 1, when you see the rosters and you see the matches, feel free to weigh in your opinions on like who you want to see in the Money in the Bank, who you want to see potentially win, etc., etc., etc. That way I have like something in my mind where I'm like, okay, who do the people want to see, and then how can I make that work? Just to give an example. So this episode is to cover the draft, the rosters for the brands, and everything after WrestleMania Season 7 for you guys. So, without further ado, let's get into it. The What If series, episode 1, titled The Draft. So, we'll start off. I'm going to wind the clock back for everybody. At least all the fans of the series. Let's say Season 7 just ended with Prince Metallica winning the WWE Championship. What am I going to do now after? Alright, to start off, basically what happens is the Hall of Fame occurs, which always happen at the end of the series. I would have done the awards, the voting, etc., etc., etc. for the series, who we thought was the top 15 of the season, what we would have done, and then ultimately hold the Hall of Fame ceremony. Now the Hall of Fame class was going to be, as far as I wrote out, it was going to be Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, the Hitmen, and the headliner being Matt King. That was the list that I think I wrote down. I think that's all the names that I had down. But at the end of the headliner, what I was going to do was do that static effect that I did, hyping up All Stars 2. So, and the hint would have been that Nathaniel would be coming. So Nathaniel, I would have written it exactly how I did, regardless of the series. Basically, I would have hosted All Stars 2, and Nathaniel would have attacked Matt King and Mad Letter 5-3 at the very end of the show, and basically he would challenge Mad Letter 5-3 to a street fight, which did happen. The street fight happens, and then you're left wondering what's going to happen next. Nathaniel basically takes the microphone after the fight and swears that he will find a way back into WWE and vanquish Triple H and become a world champion. So all this happens in conclusion of the Hall of Fame. And then that takes us to the draft. So we carry on as normal, and how I would normally do the series is we would have a draft, which is always fun when you think about it. It's always fun, loving, and entertaining. And I think, if I remember correctly, Monday Night Raw won out the statistics in terms of viewership for season 7. So basically, Raw would start first, and then it would be SmackDown. So we'd go back and forth, snaking style. So we'll do individuals first, and then we'll do the NXT. Basically, I'll read off all these lists, and then I'll show you guys the full-on lists of both brands, and then I'll basically end the video with mentioning. I'll figure it out as we get there. This is what happens when you do it live. You don't have a script in front of you. Alright. So anyways, let's start off from Monday Night Raw. Now let's be clear here. There are people up for grabs. Well, I mean champions that are up for grabs. Those are the minor champions, Velveteen Dream being the United States champion, Kyle O'Reilly as the Intercontinental champion. Both of them can switch brands. Now, the wrestlers that will stay on the brand in terms of individuals are Sante Guerrero, who is the Universal champion walking out of WrestleMania Season 7, and of course, Prince Metallico with the WWE Championship. So Prince Metallico is automatically going to SmackDown, and Sante Guerrero is automatically going to Raw. Now, to start off Raw, the very first pick that they make is Velveteen Dream. So the United States champion stays on the Raw brand. And then Kyle O'Reilly is automatically selected to stay on SmackDown. So the United States title and the Intercontinental Championship will remain on their respective brands for Season 8. So the first overall pick afterwards, so technically the second pick overall in terms of non-champions, is Blake Daniels from Monday Night Raw. So he will jump over to the red brand from SmackDown. The first overall pick for for SmackDown is Kevin Draco. I just let it slip there. So the veteran, the all-star, remains on the blue brand once again for another season. And for the second pick for Monday Night Raw, it would be Adam Cole, baby. So the leader of the Undisputed Era, will leave SmackDown as well from Monday Night Raw. So you already see two guys jumping over to the red brand. Second pick overall for SmackDown out of the that are not champions is of course the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, the leader of the OC. Now, of course, the third pick from Monday Night Raw will be Blake Daniels' new bodyguard, henchman, whatever you want to call him, the prize fighter Kevin Owens. Also jumping ship to Raw. Then, of course, the third pick for SmackDown is the veteran and future Hall of Famer, guaranteed, the leader of the dynasty, Class Par. Fourth pick for Monday Night Raw is the Viper, Randy Orton. So he will once again stay on the red brand for the 8th season in a row. SmackDown grabbing the young talent that they had in season 7, Tyler Bate. And Monday Night Raw once again staking a former SmackDown guy, Andrade Cien Almas. And then, of course, the Scottish psychopath is the 5th pick for SmackDown. It is Drew McIntyre. 6th pick for Monday Night Raw is Samoa Joe. 6th pick for SmackDown is James Arlington, the Irish icon. 7th pick for Monday Night Raw is Finn Balor. And the 7th pick for for SmackDown, breaking up this tag team, the one and only Ricochet. The 8th pick for Monday Night Raw, they use it on the upcomer and former NXT champion, Braden McLaughlin. If we're going from former NXT champions, look no further in this series with Aleister Black as SmackDown's 8th pick. Monday Night Raw then follows it up with their 9th pick being Roman Reigns. After that, SmackDown grabs Scott Cole. The 10th pick for Monday Night Raw is Seth Rollins, the Architect. For SmackDown, they take finally somebody, another guy from Monday Night Raw, as they've taken, I think, 2 at this point, Jeff Sanders. The 11th pick from Monday Night Raw, Bobby Lashley. The 11th pick for SmackDown is Alex Carter. The 12th pick from Monday Night Raw is a veteran, Raymond Cruz, or also known as DJRC. And in response to that wowing pick from Monday Night Raw, SmackDown picks a one-time WWE champion, the Drifter Elias. 13th pick for Monday Night Raw is Rey Mysterio. SmackDown taking a veteran with the 13th pick being John Cena. The 14th pick for Monday Night Raw, the man who came up unsuccessful against Samuel Armstrong at WrestleMania Season 7, Jamie. 14th pick for SmackDown, they pick a veteran mid-carder, Davis King. 15th pick for Monday Night Raw, it is the headhunter, Colt Lee. and he's a future Hall of Famer, as a matter of fact. Another veteran being snagged up by SmackDown, it is the Mexican sensation, Adrian Galerto. 16th pick for Monday Night Raw is the Psycho Killer Tommaso Ciampa. 16th pick for SmackDown is Max Webb, superhero, and also hardcore champion. And I forgot to mention Tyler Bate is the cruiserweight champion. 17th pick for Monday Night Raw, Akira Tozawa. SmackDown 17th pick, they used it on Aiden English. The 18th pick for Monday Night Raw, they use it on Braun Strowman. The 18th pick for SmackDown is Cedric Alexander. The 19th pick for Monday Night Raw, they use it on the king of strong style himself, Shinsuke Nakamura. The 19th pick for SmackDown is the Lone Wolf, Baron Corbin. Monday Night Raw uses their 20th pick on Mustafa Ali. 20th pick for SmackDown goes to the Glorious One and former tag team champion alongside Kurt Angle, the Glorious One, Bobby Roode. The 21st pick for Monday Night Raw, they take Sami Zayn. The 21st pick for SmackDown, they take the Bulgarian brute, Rusev. For Monday Night Raw, for their 22nd pick, they take the Animal, Batista. For the 22nd pick for SmackDown, they take Apollo Crews. For the 23rd and final pick for Monday Night Raw, they take The Miz. And for the final pick for SmackDown, they take Cassius Ohno. So that rounds out the list so far for the individual competitors for Raw and SmackDown. I'll put up the list at the very end for all of you guys to look at. But yeah, some key free agents that are missing: Samuel Armstrong, The Fiend Bray Wyatt, CM Punk, and several others that can be chosen and signed at a later time. The brands can grow their rosters and shift people around, trade them. And one other noteworthy thing from Monday Night Raw, Shawn Michaels officially steps away as the GM of Raw, and Harvey is appointed the head of Raw. Shawn Michaels becomes a chief executive within WWE. Now, as far as the draft goes, when it comes to tag teams, fun. Now, let's keep in mind, when it comes to Monday Night Raw, the Hitmen, who were just inducted as a tag team in the Hall of Fame, and Slim Reaper, who has now 2 Hall of Fame rings, are the current Raw Tag Team Champions. They do not choose to vacate the belts, they will keep them. So they will be guaranteed to start on Monday Night Raw as well. As for SmackDown, if you forget, DIES has the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, so Johnny Gargano and Daniel Bryan are automatically on SmackDown as well. So when it comes to Monday Night Raw, the tag teams that they drafted were the Hardy Boys, the Usos, the Revival, MK and Assassin, Bobby Fish and Roddy, and then finally, the New Day. As for SmackDown, the people underneath DIS is the Authors of Pain, the OC, American Alpha, the War Raiders, and Slater and Rhino. So, for Monday Night Raw, I give to you the full list. Although I think I dorked up the list. I'm just going to fix the wording on one of them because nobody's going to notice. No one's going to see it. There we go. There's the full list for Monday Night Raw for you to look at. I'll leave that up for about another minute. I think it's a fairly solid group. I think that I could have beefed it up a little bit more. I think SmackDown out of the two was a bit more heavy with the star power, in my opinion. It's up to you what you think. But as you can see, Sante Guerrero is starting off as the Universal Champion, Velveteen Dream starting off the United States. So feel free to let me know who you want to see potentially gun for the belts. This is your time in the comments section to gravitate towards someone and say, hey, Matt, it would probably be good to try this out. So, Mr. Pizza, just for an explanation, while I'm keeping this up here, the Universe Series has been retired, but I am doing a What If series. As you can clearly see by the title that I have made here, this is all based on how I would have booked things. So, I did have rough outlines. Now, I did end the series, which means that it is done, for anyone that doesn't know the meaning of it, but I wanted to do a written out version. The only downside is there won't be any matches aired, so you won't see the match quality. I'm not doing the shows, but I'm showing you basically what I would have written for the series if I did an 8th season, the season without Matt King. So, once again, going back to the Raw list to let you guys take a good look at it, that is essentially the lineup. So, if you want to see me push people, I can still alter plans because I haven't done episode 2, which will take you from that will cover the first 4 episodes: Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and Extreme Rules. Feel free to gravitate towards somebody and tell me who you want to see to try to gun for the belts, because then I can put them on the shows. Now, I do have a lot of long-term stories starting to be put down, so put down your suggestions in the comments, either right now or later on. But this is the Raw list officially for you to look at. As for the SmackDown list, here is the official brand for the blue brand. Kevin Draco, of course, being the all-star there. Class Par, AJ Styles, Tyler Bates, some young talent there. Apollo Crews, Cassius Ohno. Guys who, in my opinion, once again, I think SmackDown is still heavy within the individuals. I think that they have a more star-studded cast, but also trying to acquire some lower-tier guys, some mid-carders, and hopefully could elevate them. And a few guys from Monday Night Raw. So definitely the Undisputed Era left Kyle O'Reilly after O'Reilly survives. Blake Daniels and Kevin Owens leave as well. So some key players within SmackDown depart, and here comes some newer guys. And I'll leave that up there for a little bit longer for you guys to look at. Alright, with that in mind, time to talk about NXT. To give you guys a little bit of context, NXT will be a little bit tough to write for, only because I am not currently making new characters for them. So you have to keep in mind that I'm going to try to write the series with NXT in mind and still talk about the guys that I have in the series. There will be people who will be demoted back down to the brand, of course, to keep them on screen. I'll try to write with who I have. For example, Ace is the NXT champion, Ryan Trapp is the North American champion, Chris Hall, Mac Allen, Austin Arrogance, EC3, Jack McKay, Jackson Wolf, Jacob Knox, Leo Rush, Tyson Cage, Haruto Yamashita, Bruce Bennett, Cole Quinn, Christian, etc., etc. And all these guys that weren't picked, are going to NXT. Now, of course, guys like Bruce Bennett are more so under the free agent category because they were already promoted to NXT or from NXT. But I'm just putting that down for you to keep in mind. Same with the NXT wrestlers, Next Gen, Saito Brothers. So if I create new people, it will be tough for me to show you or generate hype behind them because you haven't seen the match quality of the characters. So I'll try to write around that. Maybe one or two guys that I'll add, but not too much within it. So I'll try to write the stories that I want to write. And if I don't have talent for it, I'll just put a blank on that slot, whatever the case may be. But with that in mind, that gears us up for Extreme Rules and the first couple shows. Now, just as a quick teaser, or just to give you guys an example of what I'm going to do, once again, I'll probably be doing screenshots on WWE 2K19, like using the universe mode format. I'll try to find a way to show you guys attacks backstage. I'll try to find a creative way to do cutscenes for you guys. It'll probably be made on Share Factory. I'll piece it all together that way. I'll try to do voiceovers for it, pair it all up, and go over the wins, the losses, who gets pinned, championship bouts, etc., etc., etc. So, with that in mind, that concludes the video. Feel free to let me know what you think, and feel free to share your opinion on who you want to see potentially gunning for belts. I do have everything for the first 4 episodes completely written out as I start building up toward some stories. But nonetheless, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel, of course, if you choose. But most importantly, and as always, Pseudo Mad Army, this is episode